Hello, and welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby, where we will continue the journey of Neddie and Beckie Stubtail. Story 24. Neddie and Beckie at a party. One day, when Neddie and Beckie Stubtail, the little boy and bear girl, came home from school, where they had their lessons, each one getting a good mark for not whispering, one day, as they ran in the house to get a honey cake, they saw two little white envelopes lying on the dining room table. "Hello," exclaimed Neddie, looking at them. "Here's some post office mail Mama has forgotten to open." "I'll take it to her," spoke Beckie, as she put her school books on the sideboard. "I think she's in the kitchen, and while I'm out there, I'll get the honey cakes." "Good," cried Neddie, as he wiggled his little tail. "And while you're about it, get as many honey cakes as you can, Beckie." "I will," answered the little bear girl. "Bears are very fond of sweet cakes, especially if they have honey in them." But when Beckie took up the tiny envelopes, she gave a little squeal of surprise, just like a baby piggy under a gate, and she said, "Why, Neddie, these are for us. They are letters with our names on." "Are they?" asked Neddie. "Sure enough," he cried as he looked. "I wonder who can be writing to us." "The best way would be to open them and find out," suggested Aunt Piffy, the fat old lady bear, as she came up from down cellar, where she had gone to keep the apples from getting lonesome. Oh, Aunt Piffy was the kindest old lady bear you ever heard of. She was even kind to the apples and potatoes, and all things like that. "Open your letters," she said to Neddie and Beckie, "and then you can tell whom they're from." Beckie began to tear open her envelope, but Neddie, after looking at it for a moment, said, "Ho ho, I know. This is a joke of Uncle Wigwag's. I'm not going to let him fool us." Uncle Wigwag, was an old gentleman bear who was always playing tricks or jokes on Neddie and Beckie, and sometimes on Aunt Piffy too. Just then in came Mr. Whitewash, the polar bear gentleman. "Has anyone seen my cake of ice?" he cried. "I can't find it. Someone must have my cake of ice." You see, being a polar bear from the North Pole, Mr. Whitewash always used to sit on a cake of ice to keep cool, and he often mislaid it, or couldn't find it, just as Grandma Cluck Cluck, the old lady hen, used to lose her glasses. "Where is my cake of ice?" asked Mr. Whitewash, as he looked all around the bear cave house. "Oh my goodness me sakes alive and some horseradish mustard!" cried Aunt Piffy. "I think I put your cake of ice under the stove, to have it out of the way while I swept, and by this time—" "Yes, by this time it must be all melted," cried Mr. Whitewash, as he rushed out to the kitchen. And, as luck would have it, just then, through the door, came Mrs. Stubtail, the mama bear, and in her hand she had a plate of honey cakes that she had just baked. Of course, Mr. Whitewash rushed right into her, but he didn't mean to. Down went Mrs. Stubtail, down went the honey cakes, down went Mr. Whitewash, and such a mix-up you never saw in all your life. But no one was hurt, I'm glad to say, though some of the honey cakes were broken. But that did not hurt them, and Neddie and Beckie picked them up and their mama let them eat the pieces. Then Mr. Whitewash managed to find his cake of ice under the stove. It was not quite all melted, but nearly. However, there was enough for him to sit and cool, until the iceman came with another cake. Then, when everything was quiet, Neddie took up his envelope again and said, "Look, Mr. Whitewash, Uncle Wigwag is trying to play another joke on us." "No, I don't think so," answered the white polar bear gentleman. "He has not been in the house in a long time. He and Uncle Wiggily Longears, the rabbit gentleman, are playing a game of hot butterscotch on the duck pond. I think your letters are no joke." Then I'm gonna open mine, exclaimed Becky, and when she had done so, and had read the writing inside, she called out, "Oh, Neddie, it's an invitation to a party. Kitty Cat, the little pussy girl, is giving a party, and she's asked me to come to it. Is yours an invitation too?" "Why, yes it is," said Neddie slowly. "I guess I'll go." "Go? Of course we'll go," cried Becky. "I wonder what dress I'll wear." "Oh, that's just the way with girls," cried Neddie. "As soon as they hear of a party, they begin thinking of dress." "Pooh. I guess you boys are just as fussy about wearing a new necktie," said Becky, as she waggled her little stubby tail. Well, to make long story short, Neddie and Becky got ready to go to the party Kitty Cat has to get. Well, to make a long story short, Neddie and Becky got ready to go to the party Kitty Cat was to give. It took place 3 nights after the invitations came out, and Neddie and Becky, the little bear children, each one dressed very nicely, went on and on through the woods and over the fields to Cat Home. It was not very far, and there was a bright moon shining in the sky, so they were not afraid. And I just wish you could have been to the party which Kitty Cat gave for all her animal children friends. No, on second thought, perhaps it is just as well you were not there. The animal children wouldn't know you, and they might have been frightened. But someday, I'll take you around myself to call on them. And after that, they won't mind you. Anyhow, everybody whom Becky and Eddie knew seemed to be at Kitty's party. Her brothers, Tommy and Joey Cat, waited on the door and let in guests as they came. Sammy and Susie Littletail, the rabbit children, were there, and Petey and Jackie Bow Wow, the puppy dog boys, and Lulu and Alice and Jimmy Wibblewobble, the ducks, and oh, everybody. And such fun as they had. They played all sorts of games, such as Little Bear in the Corner, Hide the Potato, Lose the Piano and Find the Molasses, and whoever found the molasses could have some of the sweet stuff on a spoon. Neddie and Becky liked this game the best of all. Then there was another game. Kitty Cat brought in an empty barrel, and in the bottom she put a box of candy. "Now," said Kitty, "whoever can reach over in and down and get that box of candy may have it. But, mind you, you got to get it with your paws. You can't use a stick or a hook to pull it up." Now, the barrel was quite a deep one, and though all the animal boys and girls tried, they could not reach down and get the box of candy. "Oh dear," sighed Becky. "This is just the kind of a trick Uncle Wigwag would play." "Well, it's only in fun," said Kitty Cat with a laugh. "And when you've all tried and can't do it, I'll turn the barrel upside down and the candy will drop out and we'll all have some." "Wait, I hadn't finished yet," called Neddie Stubtail. "I think I can claw up the candy." So he leaned over the edge of the barrel and scratched his paw down in for the candy. At first he could not get a hold of the box. Further and further he leaned over the edge, and his hind paws came off the floor. "Look out, Neddie, you'll fall in!" cried Becky. And that is just what Neddie did. All of a sudden, into the barrel he went, head over paws and everything. "Kerbunko!" went Neddie. Everybody laughed when he went down inside the barrel, and when he bobbed up again, holding the candy in his paws, the animal children laughed more than ever. For Neddie was all covered over with white. He looked just like Mr. Whitewash, the polar bear gentleman, only smaller. "Oh, Neddie, what happened to you?" asked Becky in surprise. "I know," exclaimed Kitty Cat. "That barrel had flour in it, and I didn't dust it all out. The white flour is all over Neddie's fur." And so it was, but no one minded. I don't care, I got the candy anyhow, said Neddie as he jumped out of the barrel. Then he gave all the animal children some of the sweet stuff, and when a few more games were played, it was time to go home. Beckie and Neddie went through the forest, and when they were almost at the bear cave, Beckie said, "Someone is following us through the woods. Maybe it's a bad lion." "I hope not," cried Neddie. He turned around to look, and there it was, a bad circus lion. But an instant later, the lion roared out, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Whitewash, I didn't know it was you." And then the lion ran away. You see, he looked at the white flower still on Eddie's fur, and the bad lion thought he saw the big, strong polar bear gentleman, while it was really only little Neddie. Then the bear children ran home safely. So you see, it was a good thing Neddie fell into the flour barrel and got all white after all, as it scared away the bad lion. And next, if the horsey doesn't jump out of his picture frame on the wall and run over my typewriter with his pony cart, I'll tell you about Neddie in the snowbank. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby. I hope you all have a good night and sweet dreams.